Today's episode is a really special episode because it's my first episode. So, I'm an artist, and for most of my life, I've focused on drawing, painting, and a variety of other visual art forms. But over the past couple years, I've become aware of the art of doll repainting. And it's been an interest of mine, but it really wasn't until this spring that it kind of became an obsession. It's the year 2020, and like all of us, I've been stuck in my house for months and months and months. And I think we've all had to find special ways to cope with this quarantine and going bonkers. And one of the ways I've been able to cope with this cabin fever has been watching a bunch of different artists on YouTube repaint dolls. Artists like Poppin Atelier or Hexian, Delightful. They've been kind of like my background music, my soundtrack, if you will, for this quarantine. They're just constantly on. And it didn't take me very long to start thinking about, my own ideas for dolls, and you just started spending hours just brainstorming different projects of my own. And it wasn't very long before I decided that, maybe I should try to make my own for real. So I decided to record the process, and if I didn't like it, no one would have to see it. But obviously you're watching this channel, so spoiler, I ended up loving it and decided that I needed to make my own YouTube channel. And here I am. For my first doll, I really liked the idea of an alien abductee. I don't know, I kept having this idea of a girl in the middle of the night. Maybe she's at a slumber party, or maybe she's just at her house, but she's woken up in the middle of the night and she has this voice almost in her head telling her to go outside. And so she's in her pajamas and she goes outside. There's this big spaceship out in the middle of a field, and she gets picked up by the tractor beam and lifted up towards the spaceship. So there's a lot to cover in this video, so we're gonna jump into it. But before that, if you're new to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, the bell button to get notifications when I post a new video, and don't forget to like this video. Doing that really helps me grow my channel and helps me spread my art around the world, and that's just the dream. So help me achieve my dreams.
Today I'm going to be using an Abbey Bominable Monster High doll. I chose her for this project because of her round face shape and large eyes, which I think give her a really innocent look. She is a second-hand doll, and I've gone ahead and removed her clothes, washed her, and cut down her hair. Now for a bit of torture, I'm now dunking her head in boiling hot water for a couple of minutes. This will soften the rubber of her head and melt the glue inside. Now I'm holding my breath and trying as best as I can to be gentle while I remove the head from the body, trying not to crack that infamous head peg. Using my handy dandy forceps tool, I can now pull the remaining hair from her head. This doll has a crack in her scalp at her hair part, and I'm going to fill that in with Gorilla Glue. Next, I'm taking nail polish remover that has acetone in it to remove the factory paint from her face and scalp. I didn't predict this, but the glue expanded in her head after it dried, so I'm going to have to cut it and file it down. So I know that I want my abductee to have brown hair, so I'm going to go ahead and prep the scalp with brown acrylic paint. This will avoid a patchy look once the hair is in. For my first reroot ever, I'm using the color Katniss from the Doll Planet. I just finished the first row of the reroot and her head cracked even more. Maybe our old friend Gorilla Glue can fix it. I did a bit of panic gluing, which one should just never do, and honestly, I don't know if I should keep using this head. Excuse me for a moment. I'm going to eat cereal and disassociate while thinking about what I want to do. Do I keep using this head or do I start over? But for now, let's get down to her body. Miss Abbey is an adorable snow monster and she has glitter on her body, which is cute, but not a texture I want for my doll. Time to bust out the nail file and sand her down. I don't want my girl to be blue, so to prep her for pastels, I'm going to give her 2 coats of white acrylic paint. So I jumped ahead a little bit here. Basically, after the white paint dried, I applied 2 layers of soft pastels in burnt sienna tint, sealing with Mr. Super Clear between each layer. Now I'm taking darker tones of burnt sienna pastels to shade her body. Oh, and by the way, if you're curious about what I'm using for this video, I've listed all my supplies in the video description. And now I'm making her nightgown. And I'll be honest here, my sewing skills are a hot mess. And I like you guys way too much to make you witness the struggles involved in making what should probably be a very simple nightgown. But here you can see I'm about to finish. Et voila! I've cut out the neck hole and I've flipped it right side out. I'm actually pretty proud of my accomplishment. It isn't perfect, definitely not, but hey, with more practice, I'm just gonna keep getting better and better at sewing. And now I'm prepping the images for the nightgown. Using my Cricut cutter, I've made an alien face and the number 42 out of heat transfer vinyl. Peeling the excess vinyl is always so satisfying. Any second now, I'm gonna mess this up. But don't worry, I was able to fix it. For her next accessory, I want to make her a pair of slippers. Using craft foam, I will layer it up with a pink sole. One last detail, bunny ears, so cute! Here you can see I've made her a pair of knee-high socks out of one of my old socks. I think she needs a buddy, so I'm going to make her a teddy bear using Sculpey. Okay, jumping ahead, I baked our bear friend. I sprayed him with Mr. Super Clear and gave him a couple layers of soft pastels. Now I'm dry brushing on some brown acrylic paint. And now, his beady bear eyes need some catch lights and gloss. I'm back with a plan. And I'm starting over. Sometimes the best thing to do is start over, and here I am taking a different Abbey doll, and I will remove her head, hair, and makeup.
And now it's time to start working on her head. Just like on her body, I've given her 2 layers of white acrylics. And now I'm working on the second layer of the base skin tone using pan pastels. After I'm done, I will then spray with 3 coats of Mr. Super Clear sealant. Using the same colors I used on the body, I'm blocking in shadows and the eyebrows. And now, one of my favorite parts, blushing. Using watered down acrylic paint, I'm applying freckles with a toothbrush. Starting with the waterline, I'm starting to sketch in the eyes using my watercolor pencils. Here I'm drawing in the pupils, and I want it to look like she's looking up at the ship. Doing my best to keep them even, I'm starting to draw in her eyebrows. I'm adding purple to her scaleras to give the illusion of shadow. Using a black watercolor pencil, I'm drawing in her upper eyelashes and darkening her irises. Here, I'm adding a ring of catch lights. I want it to look like the lights of the spaceship are reflecting in her eyes. And now, I'm adding more intense whites to her scleras to make her eyes pop more. To finish her face, I'll be adding another layer of Mr. Super Clear sealant and adding gloss to her eyes and lips.
Back to the hair. As you can see, I've had a more successful attempt at rerooting hair this time. No cracks here. I'm going to keep going off camera because this can take a while. After many hours doing this reroot, I have a beautiful head of hair. I'm going to add tacky glue to the inside of the head and let it sit for 24 hours. After that, I'll use boiling water to de-poof her hairdo. While we wait for the glue to dry, I'm going to make her a custom doll stand and a spaceship. I've taken a piece of wood, drilled a hole in it, glued in a doll stand stick, and now I'm painting it with 2 coats of green acrylic. I'm repurposing an old folder, and I've cut it into some grass-shaped strips. To give the grass some more depth, I'm using a couple different colored pencils, which I think makes it look more grassier. And now I want to make a backdrop of the night sky, which will be a gradient from pink to dark blue. And of course, a night sky needs stars and clouds. And now I'm painting the beam of light that's lifting her up to the spaceship. For the spaceship, I'm starting with a base made of a cereal box. And with acrylic paint, I'm painting it to look three-dimensional and shiny, like metal. So here she is, the glue in her head is set, she's had her boil wash, and now I'm going to style her hair. First, I'm going to trim it, then I'm going to give her layers, and then I'm going to give her a little braid. And now I can finally start putting everything together for her final look. I sewed her socks on, I'm putting on her nightgown, and I'm reattaching her head to her body. So her nightgown is a little loose, so I'm going to gather it in the back and put in a quick little stitch, and hopefully that will make it look better. To make it stronger, I've attached some crafting wood to the back of the ship. And now I'm positioning the ship to make it look like the beam of light is coming out of the bottom. Off camera, I've attached the sky to the base of the doll stand, and now I'm working on positioning her on the doll stand stick. I want to make it look like she's being pulled up and that her slippers are slipping off of her feet and her teddy bear is falling. And she's done! Here is my finished abductee girl. I've decided to name her Samantha after Fox Mulder's little sister, who was taken by aliens on the X-Files. I'm so happy with how she turned out, especially since this was my first time doing a doll repaint makeover. I had to learn a lot of new techniques like doll hair rerouting, and I'm so excited to keep going. I'm really looking forward to seeing how much I've grown and improved by this time next year. I really hope you like my doll makeover. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!